You know, I wish I could tell you that I woke up one morning and I said, I think I'm going to create a weekend program that's going to change lives. But like a lot of us, I it was not something that I intended to do. Actually, how it really started, to make a very long story short, I was putting myself through dental school down at UCLA. And I was a fighter back then. That's how I put myself through school. It was a little weird being a boxer that hit people at night and then fixed their teeth during the day, but it paid the bills. But it got me in an environment that I was not ready for at the time. Being in Los Angeles and meeting a lot of cops that came to watch me fight, and then eventually end up at the gym, I start working with them and helping them with deal better with physical confrontation in the street. And I noticed a vast improvement. The more I worked with the cops, the more they were able to embrace fear, because they just didn't get the training at the academy that was necessary to prepare them physiologically for the feeling of fear in our body. So that really was the beginning of this whole program back in the mid-70s, is working with police officers, helping them embrace confrontation better so that when the feeling of adrenaline came into their body, they could make rational, clear decisions, because obviously the consequence would be devastating. And they would tend to go to their heads, and that's not always the place to go. They had to trust their intuition, which is not a topic at the police academy that was high on the list of priorities. So that's where I started, just working with police officers, getting through school, becoming a modern day warrior that climbed into the boxing ring and feeling fear in my own body, you know, and all of that. And so putting the program together for the police officers, where we intentionally created scenarios, physical body scenarios, that made them go into the adrenaline state that everybody calls fear. And in that place, they were actually to feel 100% of that feeling, and in a safe environment be able to re-decide what to do. And this carried on into other areas of their life. I had no idea, I was not prepared for the result of this. Not only did they have a better understanding of this feeling of fear in the body, but when you have fear, like a police officer in the streets during physical confrontation, and you master that, it bleeds into other areas of your life, into your relationships, into the worries that we plague ourselves with all day long, unpaid bills and all of that. And they really started to shift. And so they came to me and they said, we want to have other people besides other police officers experience this kind of teaching. Because one of the things I was convinced, the best way to teach is not just academically through the mental body, through the mind, which traditional education focuses on, but to teach through the emotions as well as the physical body. All three need to be involved. And that's really the main thrust of how the methodology is put together. It works. It's a shortcut. And so this was in probably 1974, 1975 when we first started doing this. And I just never stopped. I was always doing something in the background. When I opened up my dental offices, the children's dental offices in Northern California, I opened up a boxing gym within the same week. And so I would again, you know, be working on kids during the day, repairing some of the things that were done in trauma cases that were sent to me by the police officers. I was always around police officers. And then at night I'd continue to train police officers, and I'd work with people at the boxing gym, but not so much teaching boxing, but always working with embracing the ability to handle confrontational situations in their life. That was the birthplace of this. And as I progressed, I got better and more aware of how to bring it to an awareness in their mind, so that it's not just a physical sensation of mastering fear, but also how does this play out into the world? How does this play out when you go home? How does this play out into a relationship? So I just kind of trained myself throughout the years, and I followed a lot of other people that were good at what they did, whether it was therapy or whether it was reading books or working with other masters, in bringing out an awareness for people that were up against a particular situation in their life, and help them articulate it so they become more conscious of these unconscious decisions that they're making. That was the birth of it back in those days. Now it's progressed. I've been doing Leap of Faith in Washington now since 1992. And the program that I taught back then significantly looks different than the program today. It has evolved. It has become more of a program that deals with the general public. It's not about law enforcement anymore. It's not really about the heavy confrontational situations that particular arena put me in, but it's more about the general confrontations that most everybody go through in life right now.